This is a good question from Jared. How do you like the dynamic of CHT and Metcalf? I like seeing CHT take some of the load off Metcalf so they can jump in with the strengths. Yeah, I think we've been big on this. I've always
Yep.
talked about the kicking element, taking some of that pressure off of CHT, and me and Ash, we like them, and that's coming from a person that was a big advocate for TMM. I like
Yep.
what this combo is doing, and I can't fault them. So full credit to them. Any quick thoughts on those two and their development?
No, pretty much echoing exactly what you said, bro. I'm really liking the dynamics of what those guys both bring. We know what Metcalf can bring if he lets go and with his speed and stuff, but I've really enjoyed his game control. And then CHT, CHT he just competes on everything. So he seems to be the perfect guy to put next to Metcalf in a way of, to where if anything breaks down, CHT is just going to compete at the end minute, and he's defensively just so sound. So I've been really enjoying their combination. I think it will grow more and more over the season. I think people just need to be a little bit more patient because we are building the fundamentals first. But once these boys start to really find themselves and get comfortable, that's when you'll start seeing their running game probably take over a little bit more. We've seen moments of it, but we'll see it more consistently when they get comfortable and they have a good cohesiveness in that spine.
This is quite a strong statement, but letting the team down, maybe we'll just redirect to who's maybe not performing the best at the moment. If you're taking their total 4 games, I know you could probably say a Marata has actually had little moments of improvement, as well as some letdowns and others. But anyone that you're kind of standing out over the totality of those 4 games that is like concerning you a little bit with their performances, or you're a little bit worried moving forward how they're gonna hold up or how they're gonna do for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I still got a spotlight on both our edge back rollers. Like Cody Capewell, for all that he's done, like all the little things that he does, like he pops up when we rewatch the tape, right? You probably notice it too, especially in defensive scramble moments. You'll start to notice when you rewatch a game without emotion that you start to go, "Oh, Capewell was here in that moment." That's what he does very well. So his game, you can't really see it the first time. But I still think there's a little added parts that Capewell probably needs to fix up on or get better at, obviously, to make our team probably play a little bit better and probably free up a little bit of space on that edge, especially, running those lines. Maybe we could really work with him a little bit better. The other one's Maratini Akure. For such a big body, such an intimidating frame, he's shown, like, obviously against the West Tigers, he's got the ability to change on his line that last minute, but I want to see more out of him. Like, being such a big member of our side, he's paid decent money and stuff like that. I still want to see a little bit more out of him. So I feel a bit, like, obviously it's a little bit harsh, but again, I said this at the start of the season after the Raiders game that I think it really put a spotlight on both our edge back rollers at the moment. And we've got these 2 young kids of Lek Alasima and Jacob Laban that everyone's really waiting for. So both these guys just need to continue to up their game and, just continue to grow. But those are the 2 guys I'm really spotlighting at the moment. Everyone else is really kind of sitting where I kind of expected them to be and performing quite well, in my opinion.
Yeah, Waitangi has let the team down. For those that know the chat last night, just you'll make sense of it once you break it down. Definitely let the team down. Good stuff. Look, guys, we'll keep that moving. I think you're bang on about the back rowers, and it's nice to have that balance of Leka though come on and kind of give it just that extra, and give Marata that break. But to be fair to Capewell as well, I haven't been noticing him, which is also a good sign too. Like that he's just doing his job, doing his work. Yes, I can't fault. Next one is who will win a starting spot. Like who is that? I know you even made a bold prediction that Leka would be starting by round 12, or I'm not sure. Are you still on course with that prediction, or is there anyone else that's kind of grown leaps and bounds over the person you think it may be?
At the moment, I'm still going to stick on the Leka train. I think that with his performances, he's continuing to grow in a lot of areas. After his first performance in Vegas, I think he got 21 minutes or so. He got better minutes out of the 2 young boys there with Vaimwanga. He's grown now into a 30-minute back row off the bench.
Yeah.
I kind of like, I'm sitting with myself and going like, do we lose a little bit just like, not having him come off the bench and really impact games in that sort of sense? But I think there will be a time, like in my head, the way I kind of envision things to go, it will be a time where we've tinkered with Maratza playing through the middle, and there will be a little bit more of an interchange of Lecker coming to an edge, playing a little bit longer minutes on an edge, and Maratza playing a bit more through the middle to really have that oomph through the middle, if that makes sense. So I think that he's still my spotlight for the guy to take a starting spot in the future. Another smoky there, I think Jacob Laban, if he gets an opportunity sometime soon, the way he's playing in Carp, he's more of a longer minute type of back rower to where like he'll probably more likely get a starting role where Lecker stays off the bench and be more of an impact type player. So
Yeah.
those are the two guys I'm thinking of.
It's funny. I know a lot of people talk about Capewell and his blocking the pathways, but I think Capewell has understood the assignment when he's actually said, "No, I'm here just to hold place, to bring these guys in when they're ready." I think he's kind of really accepted that as his part of his Agar probably is the most one let cause you bang on. Agar has he's really, he has let us down a bit, the old Agar.
Yeah, good old Rich. He wouldn't have been at this game too, right? His suspension and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, man. We'll check it now to Stats with Ash, guys. It is finally back. And Ash has got some good stuff for us, guys. So while you're listening, keep in mind what he's sharing and hit that like and subscribe as well. I'll chuck it over to you, Ash, with some of the latest stats that we need to be aware of.
Yeah, obviously really exciting. There's a lot of positivity around the club at the moment with 3 wins, 1 loss, starting the season with a bang. And that 1 loss as a Raiders side, that was very high and mighty. We saw them take over the Broncos after our week as well. So it showed that it wasn't, there is obviously reasons for it. We were very poor in that game, but still want to touch on a lot of the good things that we've been doing for the season and how we kind of grown that area. So we've been touching on our attack and defense coming to this year. We definitely want upticks in those areas, right? So starting with the attack, at the moment, if we take our 4 full games, we're actually scoring at 21 points per game on the dot, which is okay. We actually scored at this rate, the similar rate in 2023, crazily, in our best attacking year. Everyone says this is the reason why we got top 4 that year, where our defense, was incredible too, but no one talks about that. 21 points per game is solid. We do want to lift that mark. But if you take the last 3 games, and people got to remember too, we played Manly in that first game. We played the Roosters, which they've been looking pretty dire a little bit at the moment. They're very hot and cold. And we got the Tigers that have been on fire coming to this one. We scored 25.6 points per game. So that's actually at a top 4 average. So the last 3 games, we've definitely stepped up since Vegas. 25.6 points per game is very, very good. And we need to really hold that average, I believe. That's, obviously adding the Manly game that we blew them out. Now moving on, defense. I think this is where I'm really we're both very much we need to fix up the defense, right? This is our system. That's the way we work. Right now, we're conceding 19 points per game, and that's adding in the Vegas. That's the 4 games, right? So at the moment, that is 6th in the league, which is we're a top 6 defense right now. I think the best defense currently right now after the weekend was actually the Dogs from memory. I think the Dogs are just overtaken the Tigers after the performance what we had over the weekend. So shout out to the Dogs, and they're continuing that form. But if we take away that first game of Vegas and we just did our last 3 games, we've only conceded 15.3 points per game. And that's a top 3 side in the competition at the moment. So that's actually very similar to what the Dogs are actually conceding right now and being the best in the competition. So that's very, very positive as well. If we continue on this track of what we've been doing in the last 3 games, very positive. And people are going to remember as well, we versed the Tigers that came in red hot. They've just beat the Dolphins 30 points to 18 the weekend before. They blew out, who else they blew out the week before that? They had a couple of really good performances, right? And we blew out Manly, which, Manly are a very high velocity attacking side. Tom Trebojevic, people remember that. We conceded 15.3 points per game within that last 3 game average. So that's a very, very positive stat there as well. Both those things we are fixing up. We're continuing to fix up. But that's a really, really positive sign off of last year where we conceded at 21 points per game. So that's a considerable drop in that area. last things I want to touch on, just a little bit more glazing our boys after the weekend. A lot of things people aren't really talking about, but we're doing all the stuff still. As Webby continues to say, we want to keep all the stuff that we're doing very well, but we want to add and fix up all the other stuff that we're doing right. And we've got to be mindful that when we start adding those things, we don't take away what we do well. We're the best run meterage team in the competition right now, sitting on top of the competition.
Yep.
So 7,295 run meters. That's NRL.com stats. Fox League haven't updated their stats. I like their stats better, but that's where we're sitting. And on a per game average, we're 1,824 meters per game. So that's, again, top of the competition. Amazing stuff there from the boys. And while adding that, we are the best side in the competition for post meterage. So when we hit the line, we go through the line as well. So 2,544 on overall, and per game 636, which is top of the competition. So all the questions on when Adam Fanor-Blake leaves, he's going to take a lot of meterage away from us. We've seen to replace those meterage very well, and we're still dominating sides in that stat. Like I touched on the West Tigers game over the weekend. A lot of people saying that obviously the West Tigers should have won that game. I've heard a lot of those rumors, but when you look at the stats, they lent towards our side more so than not. We outran them by close to 20 meters per set. So that's a major uptick in that area. And last of all, another thing we do well, and we're holding that standard as well, we're the best completion rate in the competition right now at 85% per game. So the next best side is at 82%. We're 3 percentile higher than the next best side, which is incredible. So we need to hold that high standard, continue to work on the things that we've been working on, but we've laid an incredible base for our season. So that's such a good sign. There's so many other things we can touch on, but we'll do a bit more of a deep dive later on in the season when I get a little bit more of an eye of where we're sitting. And we go against Melbourne Storm, after this bye weekend, and I'm sure that we can really see where we're sitting in the competition, as in if we can make a top 8 sort of position this year, which I think a lot of people are looking at. Probably best case scenario, getting into a top 8 position.
Yeah, we've been big on that. We never felt that the Eaters would be lost because of AFB. And in fact, they've probably gone up because of Aaron Clark's been one for sure.
Agreed.
Fish in his own way, like Fish's style is kind of, I find, like he hits, then he drops, then he plays the ball, and it kind of immediately generates. Because if you really think about it, when you're going for a tackle, and the tackle was made, and then you get up and play the ball, that process of the tackle happening, people are resetting the defensive line 10 meters. So if you can actually speed that process up, you're actually gaining an advantage in a way too, as opposed to being like a guy that carries, how AFB kind of took guys 10 to 12 meters, and then Fish is kind of doing it. He's going to take 5 or 6 meters, and then but the play the ball is going to be quick so that you can get at the defensive line still. It's kind of a, you know what I mean? It's that mathematics of 1 + 1 = 2, but you can calculate in different ways, I feel. So
it's exactly what you say. Like we're kind of like, instead of just having a spearhead, we've got just a whole bunch of guys that have just lifted their output in those areas. And we're as a team, and continuing to say what we touched on before, as a team, we're fixing up a lot of those issues, and we're working together as a side to get down the opposite end of the field and do what we do well. Like, I was just about to, my computer's gone spacko for a second there on my opposite side, but I was just about to check on the stats of our run meterage on players per season. From memory, we don't have a player in the top 10 for run meterage other than maybe CNK, I'm guessing. But everyone else on the back end of that, like we've got players skittled everywhere within our top 50, which is showing that as a team, we're lifting in that area. And that's a real positive